Linda Sandor. Welcome to Lessons from the Cockpit. Let's do this. Hello, everybody. My name is Belinda Sandor. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, I'm the founder of the VA Connection, where I coach and mentor established and aspiring VAs to create, grow, and scale their businesses as virtual assistants. And I work with my students in my free online community, which many of you are a part of, my courses, and my coaching programs. So today I'm going to be your host for Lessons from the Cockpit, where I share weekly tactical and practical advice for virtual assistants who are in business for themselves. And these tips are for you if you've been a VA for a while or if you're just starting out. So I'd love to hear where you're coming in from. I can already see you jumping in the comments, so thank you very much. So we've got Michelle is here from Frisco and Frederica from Amsterdam, and Sherry and Carrie are here from Iowa. Billings, Montana, that's Tristy. Hello, Tori from South Carolina. Hello, you guys. So come on in. So we are streaming live everywhere. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you are watching from YouTube, click the subscribe button so that you'll be notified every time we do a live training. And we do a lot of live free training, so you really don't want to miss out. So we've got someone coming in from Huntsville, Ontario, California. Amy's here from Texas. This is awesome. Winchester, Virginia, Florida. Marcy is here from Maryland. Hello, hello, hello. And Heather is here from Tennessee. So that's awesome. Chattanooga. Good morning, you guys. Hello, hello, hello. So today we're going to talk about accountability. Okay. Now, before we dive in, I want to introduce myself to you for a minute, and then we're going to get into this very juicy, meaty topic that's one of my favorites to talk about. So this is me and my delicious daughter, who Emily, and this was us about 13 years ago when I was just starting my VA business. And I started my VA business at a pretty scary time for me. I sort of came out of this. I had a business that failed, and it put me in a place that I did not expect to be as I was about to turn 50. I thought I would be happily married, but instead I was getting divorced. I thought I would own a home, and instead I did own a home, but I had to sell it in order to manage the debt and to get things under control. I thought I would have a good job, or I really thought my business would be thriving. But after 8 years, it failed. It failed miserably. And instead of financial security, I had 6 figures of debt and 7 years of back taxes that needed to be filed and paid. And I have to say, I also, we have these, these ideas of where we're going to be in these big milestone birthdays. And, 50 is kind of a big deal. And I thought I would be happy, right? I thought I would have figured it out. But I wasn't any of those things at all. And so I was kind of in a rough spot. And the thing is, though, that, I was down for a little while, and then I just, I stepped into it, and I thought, you know what? I knew that getting a job wasn't the answer. I absolutely knew that. I knew I had to figure out something on my own. The business that I had already had failed. So that was no longer an option. And that was really hard. That was hard to walk away from. And, but I knew that having, a business that was, or a job that was paying me $50, $60, or even $70,000, it wasn't going to be enough for me to climb on top of all of this and to be able to, raise Emily and be there for her. And I wanted to build my life around things that were important to me, like being a Girl Scout leader, things like that. I'm going to open a window, you guys. It's pretty hot here all of a sudden. Maybe it's just talking about where I was. It's like, oh, a little attack here. So the things that that I wanted, they were not compatible with having a job. So, I kind of looked around and I thought, all right, I really like to do admin work. I love doing it. I love doing it for myself. I loved doing it when I had a job. I was a secretary back in the dark ages. And I thought, okay, so what if I were able to make a business from that? And I didn't know how much I could earn. I just thought, okay, let's try it. So I started telling everybody that I knew. And one day I'm at the school bus stop and one of the dads says, what's new? And I said, feeling kind of bold. I said, well, I want to start my own business doing admin work for people. I really enjoy it, blah, blah, blah. And he was so excited because what I didn't know was that he'd started a business just like a month or so earlier, and he was drowning in all the administrative details. And the thing that's really interesting about that is I bet that if I had known he had his own business, I wouldn't have told him, which is ridiculous, right? Can you see how ridiculous that is? But I was so scared of what people were going to think. So I thought, well, I'll tell this guy who has a job, but there's no, danger in that. And what happened was he hired me. I started working with him immediately, and I did things that I already knew how to do. Like I paid his bills. I installed software on the computers for the people in the company. I shipped the computers to them. I organized his QuickBooks, things that I already knew how to do. And so that was really the beginning of it. And as a result of stepping into that and starting to really spread the word, I've been in business since 2010. I've worked with over 225 clients and made well over $1 million. The first year I was in business, just by telling people that I knew and doing an email newsletter, which for those of you who are my students, you know all about that, I made $70,000. And for the next 10 years, I made at least $100,000 or more being a VA working from home. And this is what it looks like today. So this is my husband, Greg, on our wedding day in the summer of 2021. We're coming up on 2 years. And these are our kids, Emily and Greg's 4 boys, David, Charlie, Stephen, and Andy on our wedding day. And life is really different now. It's really different now. I was talking to one of my friends last night and we were talking about money. And I said, it's so important to celebrate these changes in our life because we can always just stay stressed about money. Like no matter how much we have, it's always like, well, what about this and what about that? And we were both celebrating that we're both in a place where when we go to the grocery store, we buy what we want. And for so many years, that wasn't the case. I was just like buying groceries for, the next 3 meals because I didn't have cash, and just trying to pull it together. But it's such a pleasure to, put the things in the cart that I want. And I'm not extravagant. I am cognizant of money. And at the same time, it's just nice to not have that stress anymore and not have to worry about, minimum payments or my cell phone getting turned off, which it got turned off all the time because I just was like, yeah, I got to pay that bill. I wasn't being financially responsible and it makes such a big difference. And the thing is that I was there for Emily when she was growing up, and she didn't have to live in a family where we were always scraping and scratching for money, and we had been like that for a while. But by the time she was old enough to kind of see what was going on, I had started the recovery and had started to be able to provide for us. So it's really a big deal, this whole concept of being self-reliant. And I want to invite you into this journey so that you can have that too, because it's definitely there for you. And a big part of it is accountability. Right? Is accountability. So I'm going to jump right into this topic right now. So everybody talks about accountability, right? Mostly what people do is they say, oh, I need accountability. I don't have enough. I wish someone would hold me more accountable. Tell me, how many of you have said that? A lot of people have said that. And the thing that I think we're really saying is that we're not getting the things done that matter the most to us done. We're not getting done, the things that matter most to us. And, and we're doing and doing and doing, but we're not feeling the satisfaction of accomplishment, and we're not moving the needle on our goals, right? And that's because we're not being deliberate about what we're doing. And, we all have reasons, right? We have a job, a family, maybe you have a couple of pets, you have a ton of stuff to do. And I have that too. But here's the thing about this. And I talk about this, in the trainings that we do, specifically the Kickstart Challenge. When people are deciding of whether or not to join me and enroll in VA school, my signature program, what I invite them to do is to first decide if they want it, and then decide how they're going to get it, because those are two very specific, problems to solve, right? And I think the thing with accountability that we have to realize is that, if we don't step into it, there's this saying, if you don't make a decision, life's going to make the decision for you. Right. And that's what I say to the people who are thinking about signing up for VA school, because just making a decision, saying you want to sign up for something, anything, and then saying, I don't have the money, I can't. That's different. That's really giving away the accountability. That's giving away your power, and it doesn't feel good. But if you decide, no, it's not, like someone invited me to something that was kind of expensive, and I thought about it and I made a decision. I'm not going to do that because my financial goals are not aligned with that. That's very different from I shouldn't, I don't know. She invited me. I don't want to let her down. It's not that much money, right? That's very different. And accountability is really at the core of that, because we're going to talk about what accountability is specifically, and you may or may not like it, but we're gonna jump into that. But it's really about putting things through the filter of the decisions that you've made. Because really, it would have been easier for me to stay broke. It would have been painful, and horrible, but it would have been easier, because what I had to do to move through all of those back taxes, I don't even want to talk about it. It was so much stress. So much stress. Can you imagine 6 banker's boxes filled with papers that are all, together and, just mixed together, and, bank statements and all that. It was really something. So it would have been easier, but it's so much better to be on the other side. All right. So let's jump into this, because I think we've established everybody wants more accountability, but I looked it up in the dictionary. So, and this is the definition that I liked best: the willingness to accept responsibility for one's actions. So take that in for a minute. Okay. The willingness to accept responsibility for one's actions. So here's the good news. The good news is that accountability is inside me. I don't need to rely on anybody. I don't need to have anybody help me, but that's probably the bad news too, right? That's the bad news. But I want you to stick with me, because there's a system that you can put in place that will support you through accountability. All right. Because here's the other thing about accountability. And I really want to shine a flashlight on this, because I think what happens is we beat ourselves up, right? We beat ourselves up. So we'll say, I want to do X, Y, and Z, and then we don't do it. And then what happens is we feel bad about it, right? And then we start trash talking ourselves. And it's this really hurtful cycle that we get into. And so the thing is that when we are accountable to ourselves, and when we do what we say we're going to do, actually the opposite occurs. What happens is we start to trust ourselves. We start to feel like we're trustworthy. We start to present ourselves differently in the world, because we're not thinking about ourselves like someone who can't keep their word. Or here's the other one. This is really dangerous. We'll think we don't have willpower, right? We think we don't have willpower. Now, the support systems are what's critical. So let's talk about this, not about business, but let's talk about me staying in shape for a second. Okay. So in order for me to be fit and the weight that I want to be, I have to put systems in place. And it's the same thing with accountability. All right. So the systems are, on Sunday, I look in the refrigerator and the pantry and I say, do I have all the food that I need to get through the week? So is there enough lettuce and tomatoes and cucumbers and, bananas and the things that I eat? Is it there? So that's number one. Number two is I schedule lunch into my day, because when I didn't do that, when I didn't put the support systems in, what happened was at 2:00, I come out of my office, I've got a 15-minute break, I'm starving, and I start eating potato chips because I just want to not be hungry, right? That's not a system that supports me. That's not a system that supports me. My exercise is also on the calendar. So today we have study hall at 5. I will be hitting the street, the sidewalk at 6 to go for my walk. And it's already on the calendar. So I don't have to have a fight with myself, about, oh, you're not, it's too cold, it's too hot, it's too this, it's too that. It's already in place, right? It's already in place. So it's important to have those support systems. So it's the same thing with your business. All right. It's the same thing with your business. And it's simple. It's just not easy. Okay. It's just not easy. And the thing is that, you just have to sit down and think it through for a minute. Like, how am I going to hold myself accountable? All right. All right. So let's talk about accountability plan. All right. So the first thing is, and this was just created yesterday, and all of you don't know about it, but for the students who are in VA school, so that's my 9-month program to teach people how to be virtual assistants. We used to have something called the weekly focus sheet. Right. And the whole concept was to sit down and write down, what you're going to do for the week. And then I realized recently that a week is too long. It's way too long. It's too, there's too much wiggle room, right? There's too much wiggle room in a week, because we can say we're going to do something, and then here we are Sunday, and it's like we didn't do it because we had a whole week. It's kind of like when we say we're going to, do anything, and we give ourselves too much time. We either forget about it by the time the period is over, or we just put it off. So what we just created was this sheet here, and it has some questions. Now, if you're not in VA school and you're not in the VIP club, the VIP club will have this soon. Write these questions down, because you can create this form yourself. Okay. What are you working on today? Why is it important? Because we'll spend all day working on something that's not getting us to the goal. When will you do it? Right. And what are your wins? And do you have any notes you want to capture? So doing this is really important. And I do believe that it should be done every single day. Now, yesterday I started doing this for myself, and I got to tell you, I didn't like it. When I got down to when will you do it, I was like, I had a little attitude with myself, and I thought, okay, this is interesting. And, but I did it, I did it, and it'll get easier over time. It's a new thing. It's uncomfortable, but I did it. Okay. So, but the thing about why is this important, that really hit me caught me for a loop, because I thought, well, why is this important? I have this arbitrary goal that I'm trying to meet. And when I just say you should do it, I don't want to. But then when I think about, I looked at the sheet yesterday, and it's like, well, what's the cost? The flip of that is, why is it important? The flip side of that is, what's the cost if I don't do it? Right? Oh, I won't have that. Well, I want that. And it's the same thing with the food. It's like, if, what I want is to be able to feel great in a bathing suit this summer, because we're going to go out on the boat. And the flip side of that is, when it comes to food choices and exercise, is that the flip side is, I'm not going to feel good in my bathing suit, and I'm going to want to put a big fat t-shirt on top of it. And, I'm going to be feeling uncomfortable, because that's just how it plays out for me, and so, really thinking about the flip side of what will you be giving up if you don't do it. So I really strongly encourage you to do something like this worksheet every day and save them, right? And definitely put the wins on it. Okay. Now, here's how to make the plan. All right. The first thing is, you have to pick one thing. Okay. You have to pick one thing. If everything is important, nothing is important, right? And you're just flipping from thing to thing to thing. You can't do that. So let's say I've decided to update my website. Okay. And that's something that I did with my graphics person, Mark, over the Christmas holiday. Right. So it would be really easy to get overwhelmed with a project like that. There's so many details. So I decided to tackle one page at a time. So first we did the homepage, because the homepage is going to set the tone for the whole rest of the site. And while I wanted to jump over to the, about page and the course page and the blog page and all the pages, I just kept saying to myself, you're just working on this. This is all you're working on. Stop looking at the other things. And if I had ideas, I would park them on a list. So that's number 2, is have a place where you can put your other ideas, because you don't want to stop the creativity. What you want to stop is jumping from thing to thing to thing to thing, right? Because then you never get the satisfaction. And I have to say, after finishing the homepage of the website, I was like, okay, this is good. I like this. And for those of you who haven't seen it, go check it out. It's thevaconnection.com, thevaconnection.com. Okay. So put your ideas on a list. You can use Post-its, pile them up, and then stay focused on the prize. Stay focused on the prize. So the next thing you want to do, and you can do it here on these sheets, right, is to make a plan with deadlines. Okay. And I usually pick a deadline that I can totally meet. Like, with the homepage, I knew that we could finish it in a week. I knew that we could do that because Mark and I were both pretty committed, and we have a really good system for creating web pages. We've done so many of them together. It's so much fun once we get past the initial freak out that I always have. And actually, I will say, when we did we've done three websites, or I should say landing pages for some of the courses here. And the last three, I did not freak out at all. I was so proud of myself because I went in with the idea of, what, there's no reason to freak out. It's always beautiful. You always love it, so just lean into it and just embrace the yuck. That is the beginning, and we'll work through it. It's going to be fine, right? So we made a plan with deadlines. I wrote the deadlines down because otherwise it doesn't happen. Right? It doesn't happen because of the chicken chatter, right? So the chicken chatter is, the internal, frankly, BS that we tell ourselves of why we can't do something, And so I've come up with a phrase that I use that I want to tell you about, and I've told many of you about this, that I say to myself, I'm just going to turn the sound off, that I say to myself when I get distracted, and it happens every day. It happens every day because, like, for example, on Sunday, I was working on the PowerPoint presentation for the upcoming Kickstart Your VA Business. I was working on the group surprise. I was looking at the graphics and thinking about the prizes and what I wanted to say, and I really want to do it, but I started to get distracted. I started to get distracted by writing a newsletter. All things that are important, right? And I need to do. And what I had to say to myself is what I'm inviting you to say to yourself, which is, oh yeah, we're not doing that right now. We're not doing that. We're doing this. Sit down. We're doing this. And then really calm myself down by either putting music on, turning it off, taking a lap, getting a snack, refilling my, my drink, whatever it is, but doing that in order to get back on track, because I know that, we are fixers, we are helpers, and I can walk by the linen closet and see that the towels are out of place and spend the whole next hour organizing the linen closet, which is important, right? But it's not getting me to the goal. The whole thing, and I'm in the process of writing a newsletter about this for a couple of weeks from now, is that we're in business to make money. We never really talk about that. But if you're not in it to make money, like and you need money, you should probably either get a job, and do volunteer work, for the other things, because the point of this is to make money. And it is funny that we don't talk about that. And I'm going to start talking about that more, because that's how you want to spend your time, doing stuff that makes money. Organizing Dropbox is not going to make money. Telling someone about your business or going to a networking event is. Writing a newsletter is. Staying in touch with people that definitely, right? So those are revenue producing behaviors. And that's where you want to be spending your time, not doing the other. The other stuff is what you do at night when you're tired and you just want to sit at your desk for a while. Okay. So the last piece of this, and it's really important, is I want you to celebrate when you're done. Okay. Ring a bell, high five a friend. They don't even need to understand what it is. Greg has no idea what I do in here all day, right? But he's very supportive. So what happens is I'll walk out into the kitchen. I'll hear him, he works downstairs. He'll come up and to get a snack or something, and I'll hear him, and I'll come out and I'll say, I just did this really hard thing that I didn't know whether or not I could do it. And I did it, and I rocked it, and high five. And we go, boom. Right. And you can do that with yourself. And I'll keep talking about it. Like 3 hours later, we'll be on our walk, and I'll say, I know that we already talked about this, but I'm so excited that I did X, Y, and Z. And you don't need to know any of the details. You don't, if he wants the details, but he usually doesn't. I'll say it doesn't really matter. I just want to acknowledge this because I just spent so much time avoiding this, and now I've done it, and I feel great. Yay, and I'll say it to myself. And you can ask Emily when you see her at the conference. It's like, I definitely do this, and it maybe makes my family crazy. But the thing is that it's important to acknowledge it. It's important to acknowledge what we've done because we want to get that good feeling of completion, right? We live for that. It's part of who we are as VAs. We're list checkers. That's just a part of our personality. So, don't be embarrassed about putting something on a list that you already did and checking it off so that you can feel good about it. And you can do that on these forums, right? When you have, today's wins, absolutely do that as a way to pat yourself on the back. It's really important. Good. All right. So, being accountable and learning to stay focused is something that you teach yourself. And I'm happy to help you here, with trainings like this. Also, we're going to have Kickstart Your VA Business. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, starting on June 19th. But I want you to know that you want to spend your time doing things that are revenue generating, not playing around. Because what's going to happen is when you are doing things that are revenue generating and you're making enough money, you're going to be able to take Saturday and go for a bike ride and not stress out, right? You're going to be able to work in your garden. You're going to be able to be with your kids. You're going to be able to take a trip or whatever it is that you're working for, saving for retirement, whatever that is, and have that really good feeling of accomplishment. So lean into this idea of being accountable to yourself and getting things done. It's really going to, give you that feeling of freedom that you're looking for, right? That sense of freedom and relief. And I think you're going to love it. I think you're going to love it. All right. So I want to tell you about a couple things before we go. The first thing is, if you haven't heard about the conference yet, I'm very excited to tell you about what's happening in October. It's October 21st and 22nd. We are hosting the first annual Step Into Your Power live conference in San Antonio, Texas. Now, I know a bunch of people have already signed up. It's very exciting. We have very affordable early bird pricing. In fact, my commitment to the community was that we were just going to break even, and we're just exactly breaking even with the pricing that we have. It's, like I said, very affordable. The early bird pricing ends next week on the 15th. So definitely check it out. Go to thevaconnection.com and you'll see a banner a little bit down, 2 inches or something, or you can click on that, or you can go to thevaconnection.com/live. Learn all about the conference. There's 2 different flavors. There's the VIP experience, which is going to be 2-day conference. And then there's a 1-day conference that's going to be on Sunday. We have beautiful facilities. We're going to be at the Canopy Hotel, right on the Riverwalk. And then we're going to be at the Briscoe Art Museum on Sunday. Really beautiful space. We have photographers coming. We have unbelievable speakers. My friend and colleague, Michael Katz, is coming. He's going to talk all about marketing, and he's going to talk about email newsletters and really take us way to the next level on all of that. We have Danielle Wheel is coming from Israel. Michael Katz is coming from Massachusetts. Danielle Wheel is coming from Israel. She's a fabulous writer. She has helped me with the VA Connection, lots and lots. And I really attribute a lot of the success of the Kickstart Challenge that we've had in the past to her and her ability to really translate what I said to her in an interview kind of situation into words that are powering our community. She's really talented. She's helped a lot of very successful entrepreneurs with online communities, and she's going to come and talk about how to use language in your newsletters, in your life, in your business to be successful. to be successful. That's really the theme of this, is stepping into your power, and it's stepping into your power as a business owner and also as a human being, like absolutely. And so we're also going to have Scarlett DeBees. Scarlett is someone I've known for about 8 years. She's amazing. She is going to talk to us about confidence, the camera, and how to work it. She's an image consultant. She's going to talk to us about making the most of headshots, how to get a great headshot. And for those of you in the VIP experience, we have a photographer who's going to come and take headshots as part of that for you, which is pretty cool, because I know a lot of you want a beautiful headshot, right? So we're going to provide that for you. We also have my colleague and friend, April Pertwee. She is a storytelling expert, and she is just amazing. She's so heart-centered and faith-centered, and I just admire her so much. She really has leaned in with me to help me tell my story, so that so that I can make a deeper connection with you. I really didn't want to do that, and she helped me through that. And she's also sponsoring the book that I'm going to be in, that's coming out in October, that everybody who's in VIP is going to get a copy of. So I'm pretty excited about that too. All right, so check it out. Early bird pricing ends next week. There are more speakers, but I want to honor your time because I know we've gone over the half an hour. Okay, so check that out. All right, and then the last thing I want to tell you about really quick is we have a brand new training. I'm working on it right now. It's called Kickstart Your VA Business. It's a 5-day free training in a similar format to the VA Client Kickstart Challenge, but the way that we talk about what we're learning is different, and we have some different options as well. We also have a VIP experience for this 5-day training, where you'll have an extra hour with me every day, and to answer all of your questions and to lean in on Zoom, to have really a conversation. We're also going to have mindset sessions for everybody, Monday through Friday of the training. All kinds of new information as well. So definitely sign up for that. Check it out, and sign up for the VIP experience. I think you're really going to love it. What you'll get in that is you'll get the recordings of all the trainings for 90 days. So 3 months to rewatch and to really process them, where for everyone else, the trainings go away right when enrollment ends. So it'll go away on Wednesday, the 28th of June. So you'll have 3 more months to really check that out. Okay, so you can sign up for that at vakickstart.com. Sign up, and I'll see you over there. All right, so take a deep breath. Think about accountability. Think about how you want to hold yourself accountable. Get a buddy. That works too. That's a great way. There are lots of people in the community that check in with each other every day or a couple times a week. And all right, so I will see you in all the places all week. Bye for now.